Where did you get your cowboy boots? Did you get your first set down there
In Texas.
in Texas? You bought. I gave you the last set from up here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Danvic Briones, and I'm a mixed media artist. But I started doing oil painting. What is it? Around 24 years ago. My major was painting. I'm a painting major, fine arts student. So it evolved gradually from oil paints to doing carving and mixed media. So,
Oh.
and right now, that's what I've been doing, and I've been evolving that ever since. So, yeah, and that's me in a nutshell as an artist.
I'm Sandy Hackleman, and I would love to say I'm an art collector because I really do have a few pieces of art. You know, it's wonderful. I feel blessed when I get to have a piece that someone's hand has painted or drawn or moved. I can't believe, because I can't do that. I can't do that. So when I saw, I fell in love with Danvic's painting about 9 months to a year before I actually was able to buy it. I mean, it stuck with my brain that long. It was wonderful. And I was telling him, I walk by it now, and sometimes I just stop for 10 seconds, a minute and a half, and I admire it. I just so admire it. I'm a musician, and doing that is art. It really is. And I always say that it blends two sides of your brain, the left brain, the right brain. And so I'm going to ask him a couple of questions about that and see what he says when I talk about, well, how does your brain work? Because I can't do that. You know, I don't know if you could play flute, but, you know.
I think that's the thing that I have none.
None? Okay.
Yeah, music.
Here we go.
Yeah, I think I'm tone deaf, so I just focus on the visual arts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you this, tone deaf is a matter of practice.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and believe me on this. Don't think that you have a flaw in your brain that doesn't let you hear the sounds. Nope.
Okay.
It's practice.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, I'll try it because my kids are the ones who are musically inclined. So.
Are they?
Yep.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
I have some regrets. Anyway, I have bought, I swear, it has to be the most wonderful picture you've painted.
Oh, thank you.
And I just have to ask some stupid questions because I'm not an artist and I've not grown up with anybody who does this. So here I have this painting. It has wonderful colors that blend and contrast themselves. Yeah. Okay. The leaves, I think, are, oh golly, I remember the name of that. They were elephant ears.
Yes,
and
that's correct. Yeah.
They can have brilliant colors. Yeah. And then there is this one, thank you, Canadian maple leaf. I'm sorry, a maple leaf, but it is Canadian. I'm so proud to be a member of this country. And the colors are if I can be simplistic, they're nice to each other. All right? The rocks are there, and they're a background, and they're firm, and they're strong. And the leaf is there, and I know it's delicate. And then the elephant ears are, which I love as a color, because I grew up in the South, where they grew in your flower beds. You know, here you can see them occasionally as a special pot plant. But where do you find this inspiration? This is not in the place we live right now. Where did you find those things to put together?
Well, I basically where I get my inspiration from is memories. I always work on memories, and I've migrated here 2011, December of 2011. So right now, I think it's been more than 10 years. But it's always, whenever I see something, even here in Canada, that would remind me of a memory in the Philippines. So the idea of welding those elements, like the elephant ears. When I was young, my aunt has a lot of that in the garden, those purple ones.
Oh.
And so that reminds me of home. And because this is my new home, so the idea of putting that memory and then in my present home right now gives that certain sense of contrast. At the same time, also complements that. So, and that's how a lot of my works have been done, but I'm very more process oriented. So I love to see how artworks are done. So I love going to museums and look at works and how normally when I see paintings or artworks, I don't really see the whole thing, but I see how it's been done. It's like I could dissect it. Oh, this is has been glazed, so this is alla prima, and or something like that. So
okay.
and so then I get interested in the way the process and how I could actually marry that in what I do. I'm inspired by printmaking. So my works, if you see the work, it's etched. I'm sorry, not etched. It's engraved or carved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on wood. So and one of the printmaking processes is actually carving it on rubber cut or wood, and you print it out. And what I did is I wanted that to be more permanent, so I did that as an actual artwork. So it's a combination of painting and printmaking.
Oh,
And
my word.
and then yeah, the subject matter goes second, and normally it's all about what's the experience that I have. And I would get much of that idea is when I'm either on the train, when I'm just sitting down and see things outside, a wider space.
No kidding.
And then I would get, or on the bus, driving, anything that a wider space. And I have to, when I go home, I haven't been doing that a couple of years now, but normally I have this idea book, and then I would write it down and probably would use that in the next couple of years or months, depending on how I inspired or the mood. Because when I'm into art making, I wouldn't stop until I get tired of it. I have that certain sense of so sometimes I would go months, 2 months just painting and painting, and after that I would hibernate for another 3 months. So while the mood is there, I have to really capture it. That's
Thank
how.
you. I understand you.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would, because it just is, to me, it's a miracle that you can do that with your hand. You know, your brain tells you what to do, and you can do that. So, you know which picture I bought, and it's a bit carved.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, very discreetly, very simply. I'm sorry to ask a stupid question, but how did you put the dark color in that carving without blurring? I mean, it's perfect. Yeah. I keep looking at it, and it's perfect.
Yeah, so I use a lot of carving tools, right? And the idea of that is, if you carve it on wood, what I do is I'm very process. I'm very process focused. After painting it, I would varnish the work, and then I would, when it's varnished, I put oil paint on top. So I paint the whole thing all over again, so it's all black, or depending on what color. And after that, I would wipe it out. So all the paint would go to those creases, those crevices of the carve.
My word.
So that's why when you look at it, it's so sharp.
It's absolutely sharp.
And even if the paint fades, the actual work is still there because it's carved. The only downside is because I carved it, I could not erase it anymore.
Okay.
So that's the downside of it. But the upside is it's going to be there permanently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. I have a friend. She's actually one of my very best friends. We walk pretty much every day. And she's an artist, and she is real BC oriented, and I can go in and look at her little table at the window, and she's painting some birds, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. She uses pictures. Do you ever take pictures of things you're going to do and then put them there and start from that?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I always take pictures, but I use technology as well. So because I back home, I was a graphic designer. I have my own design studio, so I do a lot of desktop publishing and all that. So I do use Photoshop, photo editing. So I use pictures. I use technology uh, in my art. So sometimes I would merge different images. Like, for example, that leaf, that maple leaf, would not be really part of that. But what I do is I would merge that and edit it in a photo editing software, and make it as real as, or as surreal, depending on how I like it. So, and that's what I do. I used to do, when there was no technology before, of course, we do grids. We actually manually collage things. I would cut and then I paste and then and grid it up. But I said, technology is here. Why not use it? So there's projectors. Instead of gridding it, make it faster or make it more accurate.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you're still using your hands. So I use technology as a precursor to my artwork. Yeah.
Okay, silly question again. When you were young, did you do painting? Did you do artwork? Were you in school and had to draw a picture of so and so? And
yeah, I think my earliest recollection as an artist is I was 6 years old. My uncle drew an elephant and then I copied it, and I was so fascinated that I could copy the artwork and I could even memorize it. So from there, I did all. If you look at my notebooks when I was in my elementary years, they all have drawings. All my books, like the pages, I would design something with that page number, and so all my books, all my notebooks have doodles. And then high school, I tried competing in representing the school in terms of art. I think I just got fascinated by the idea that I could copy something and memorize it in my head and drawing it, and from there it started from there. So even in when I was in my post-secondary, I took fine arts as a degree.
You said,
and my mom was even against it because she told me that I'm going to be hungry, and I'm not. And I said that. And I said it's not the actual degree. I could use that as a way of ideas. And I even told her, I promise you I'm going to work in a broadcasting company afterwards, a corporation, which I was trying to defend my course. And I forgot about it. And actually I worked in an actual broadcasting company. So, did you know that when you were young, you told me to defend your course? So I'm saying that art is a way of thinking, not just the actual. So don't think about that as me getting hungry because of as a fine artist. It's my base thought in everything that I do. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Again, I'm understanding, and I'm not an artist, so this is so interesting that I can put this into a place in my brain. Is another silly question. Has anybody ever come to you and said, can you draw this for me? Would you paint this for me?
Yeah, I did have a couple of commissioned works, a couple of portraits, and some of them would even want me to copy painting. Those things, I always have second thoughts. But if for portraits, for a lot of commissioned works, they do ask me, and they wanted it on the technique that I use. Because sometimes
really?
I feel,
Okay.
I feel that in my technique, portrait would not work, but why do I edit myself? So I try. So it's always, some of them might not. I mean, it's quite new for them, but some of them would like it. Yeah. So I did have a couple of commissioned works. Because probably I got used to, in the advertising field, you are really being commissioned or projects, right?
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm okay with that.
All right.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that. So this weekend, there was an opening at a new available space in my town, Fort Langley. And it used to be the library. I miss it. And it's open now to many people, but artists were the first ones
Mm.
there. And here is this one person that I'd met before because my friend Margot knows a lot of the artists, and she had these abstract bouquets of flowers, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, that's not a flower. I don't grow any of those, So is that abstract? Is that what I noticed? Blurry round things that should be roses. I don't understand. When I walk by the picture I bought from you, I told you I stop a little bit sometimes and I just take a look, and it's just I watch the edges, I watch the color changes towards the center of the leaves, and that's so real for me. But have you ever done any of this really abstract stuff that makes you call on your imagination to accept it as a rose?
I actually tried a couple of experimented in abstract, but I think I am more of a representational artist. I would see some sort of an image or a figure or an association of a figure. So for me, it's really quite challenging to do abstract. I did some, but I don't feel satisfied. I guess when you saw that rose, even though it's blurry, I think it's still representational in the sense that you could still see some sort of a flower. But I guess the idea, of I guess the abstract in that is it was simplified to associate it or represent it, like when you see it, this is a flower, something like that. So
okay,
all
right. I'm learning a lot. Thanks. Okay. Yeah. I don't wear my cowboy boots enough. I wore them to school. We had Cloverdale's rodeo.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Everybody.
When is that though?
May.
Oh, May.
You think this
It's the same as. No, it's May long weekend.